The SEC regular season is wrapped up, and so today I'll be giving you guys my 2023 SEC tournament predictions as we look forward to conference tournament week. This is conference tournament week in college basketball. We got the major tournaments coming up this week. The SEC tournament being one of those. We'll be predicting this tournament top to bottom here today. Let's get started looking at the first round. We got South Carolina and Ole Miss. 12 versus 13 matchup here. Both teams just had disappointing seasons. Both teams 11-20 heading into the tournament. And we saw these two teams split the series this season. South Carolina won the last matchup, which was in mid-February. But in this matchup, I'm taking Ole Miss. I do like Ole Miss to win this one. It's going to be close. And honestly, both South Carolina and Ole Miss, I don't see either team making it too far. But I'll take Ole Miss to win in the first round. Georgia and LSU, this is an intriguing matchup for the reason I think LSU definitely puts up a fight here. They're going to keep it close, I think. They've only won one game since late December. They beat Vanderbilt back on February 22nd, and that's it. I mean, this team, the last win before that was against Arkansas back in late December. So for LSU, they've just been a terrible team this season. Georgia on the other side hasn't been great. I mean, they were looking pretty good at the start of the season. But in the end, I'll take Georgia to win this matchup and move on to the second round. Then you got Florida and Mississippi State here. This is this is basically a coin toss for me. It could go either way. I mean, you look at Florida down the stretch. They won their last two games, but those last two games were to Georgia and LSU. Mississippi State on the other side has been impressive. Problem is for Mississippi State, they've had so many close losses. I mean, this team has been very competitive, but you look at, I mean, their losses in the last couple of months. I mean, lost by 5 to Vanderbilt on Saturday, lost in overtime to Missouri, lost at Kentucky by 3 back in mid-February. You look at that Alabama loss, if you remember that back in late January, lost that game on the road by 3. This team has been very competitive. They've just come on the losing end of a lot of close games. And in the end, I'm going to take Mississippi State to win this matchup. I think if they can get a decent lead by the end of the game, and if they can close it out, they should be able to win. I do think they're the better team in that matchup. Then you got Ole Miss and Tennessee. This one's easy. I'm going Tennessee. They're just the more complete team. I know Tennessee's been a bit inconsistent down the stretch, but I think Tennessee's a team that is still very dangerous when it gets to once we get to March Madness and also this tournament. I mean, they just lost Auburn on Saturday by 9. Not a game you want to lose, but I do think I think Tennessee is a team to still keep an eye on. I know they've taken a few close, disappointing losses down the stretch, but I still like Tennessee here. Then you got Auburn and Arkansas. This one is also a really tough one. You got Auburn coming off of the win to Tennessee, and so they're looking hot heading into the tournament. You got Arkansas on the other side. I mean, this is a tougher one here. I mean, I think Arkansas is a team that I could see making a run in this tournament, but at the same time, I do like Auburn, and I like this team. You got Wendell Green Jr. and KD Johnson. This is a talented team, so I'm going to take Auburn to win this matchup and move on to the quarterfinals, but definitely a close matchup and one that's tough to predict. Then you got Georgia and Vanderbilt. This one's also interesting. Vanderbilt being a team that they just came around so much in the second half of the season. You look at, this team was down and out. You remember that Alabama loss when they lost 101-44 on the 31st of January? Well, since then, this team has lost only one game, and that was to LSU back on the 22nd of February. Otherwise, this team has played really well. They have had some excellent wins, like Tennessee beat them. I mean, they beat Florida, beat Kentucky just a few days ago, and then just beat Mississippi State on Saturday. So Vanderbilt's playing very well right now. This is a team that really came around since they're really down. I mean, they were in a bad spot there in late January, but this team really has come around, and they're the 6th seed, now taking on Georgia. And I'm going to take Vanderbilt in this matchup. I do think Georgia puts up a fight here. I could see them winning this matchup, but I'll still take Vanderbilt in the end. Then you got Mississippi State and Alabama at the top for the quarterfinals, and this one could go either way. Mississippi State, as I mentioned, this is a team that's been super competitive. They've just been on the wrong end of a lot of close games. They've been super competitive, and they can win this matchup for sure. But I think Alabama, I'm going to take them to win this one in the end. I think the Crimson Tide are definitely a team that is very dangerous. They're going to be a tough out, and no matter what tournament they're in, you're talking March Madness, SEC Tournament, they're going to be tough to beat. So I've got the Crimson Tide winning there. Then Tennessee and Missouri. Missouri is a really interesting team. And, I think Missouri, there's some hype around them. They could be a dark horse, maybe make a run at March Madness. But in the SEC Tournament, this is a tough draw. I think Tennessee they're just a complete basketball team. I really like them. And in the end, I'm going Tennessee to win this matchup. Missouri, going to put up a fight. It's going to be a close one. This could be definitely one of the greatest matchups of the tournament. Missouri's played well down the stretch too. They've won 4 straight heading into the tournament, just beat Ole Miss. And so, they also beat Tennessee, if you remember back on the road, and they beat them 86-85. I think in this matchup, different story. Tennessee is definitely going to want to win this one. Don't want to lose to Missouri again, and they do that exactly, and they proceed on to the semifinals. Auburn and Texas A&M. Texas A&M is a 2 seed in this tournament. That's a team that is 15-3 in conference, really played well in the second half of the season, and defensively is especially where this team has excelled down the stretch. They're taking on Auburn, who once again I think is a team that could really catch fire here in this tournament. And so this is a tough one to predict, as an interesting one. And in the end, I'm going to be taking Texas A&M just because they're coming off of their huge win against Alabama, which was a big deal there on Saturday. And I could see Texas A&M catching fire as well. They're going to be a team that's going to be interesting to watch when it comes to March Madness. Wade Taylor, he's playing excellent right now. I'm going to take this team to proceed on to the semifinals. Vanderbilt and Kentucky. Vanderbilt, they played so well down the stretch in the second half of the season. You could say especially the last month of the season. Kentucky on the other side, a team with experience and a team that is very talented. And Kentucky in the end, this is a tough matchup for Vanderbilt. I think Kentucky's going to win this one. But if Vanderbilt was playing, honestly, any other team in the quarterfinals, I might take Vanderbilt over them. But Kentucky, I'm going to take them in the semifinals. I do like the Wildcats quite a bit as we look forward to the postseason. They've played well down the stretch. And also, we did see Kentucky play Vanderbilt pretty recently. Vanderbilt won the matchup by 2. Kentucky flips the script and gets the win here in the SEC tournament. Now for the semifinals, you got Alabama and Tennessee. This was an outstanding matchup. When we saw it in the regular season, Tennessee got the win. And Alabama really isn't lost down the stretch. They lost to Texas A&M on Saturday, lost to Tennessee back a few weeks ago. But otherwise, they've been really solid down the stretch. And I think in the end, this is going to be a loss that Alabama avenges. They get the win and proceed on to the SEC championship. But it could go either way for sure. And Tennessee, I think, is definitely one of the more complete teams in the nation. And they're still very much a dangerous team. But Alabama is as well, and they proceed on. Texas A&M and Kentucky, this is also an outstanding matchup. Texas A&M is a really interesting team. Defensively, they're very strong. That's especially been their strength down the stretch. Kentucky on the flip side, a team that I really like with talent. All around, that's an outstanding team. And in the end, I'm going to take Kentucky in this matchup. I do like the 3 over the 2 here. And I think Kentucky proceeds on to the SEC championship. Ever since Kentucky won 4 straight SEC titles, this team hasn't won it for the past few years, and Kentucky's going to have an opportunity as they take on Alabama. And in the end, I'm taking Kentucky to once again be SEC champions. This one, Alabama, maybe they're the better team in this matchup, but Kentucky, it's so close. Kentucky is an outstanding team, and I like how this team is all around. And we did see them play in the regular season back in January, and Alabama won that matchup by like 28. So that was a blowout on the Alabama side. But I think in this matchup, Kentucky makes it a different story. They get the win. They are SEC champions once again. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this bracket. Who you think is going to win the SEC tournament? Definitely one of the more intriguing tournaments. That's for sure as we look forward to conference tournament week. Appreciate you guys all watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll catch you on the next one.